So hello students. So today in the today's topic we will be covering the certificate. This is a certificate course on drafting and negotiating commercial contracts, and I will be covering for you the operative clauses. So student, if there is any problem, there is any issue, any query, then you can put in the chat box, meeting chat box. Okay. So let's start with the operative clauses. So first of all, I would like to introduce some fundamental basics of the contract. As you, the other teachers also have taken the classes of Contract Act, so they have covered everything. What is the contract? Why we are making any kind of commercial contract? Why we need to draft the contract? So everything has been covered by the two other teachers. So in today's topic, I will just cover the operative clauses. So whenever we start any kind of contract, then in that contract we have to put some clauses, some operative clauses, that how we will cover every clause, how we will initiate the contract, what are the transaction in the contract, what are the loopholes, what are the remedies and damages, and everything ifs and what shall be covered under the operative clause. So in one way or other, we can say that operative clauses are the lifeline of any contract. So without operative clauses, you cannot do anything, because just a simple contract cannot save you from any kind of repercussions. Okay, so let's start with the first operative clause. So first operative clause is do not forget to mention the transaction. Okay. So first of all, if there is any kind of transaction, so when you start any kind of agreement with, whenever the agreement is enforceable by law is a contract. So first we will mention the transaction, that what we are going to do in the contract, whether we are going to sell in the contract, whether we are going to buy in the contract, whether we are going to work on the securities, whether we are going to work on the will or any kind of contract. So the first thing is, do not forget to mention the transaction. So in that transaction, whatever you are going to do is, you have to mention. Suppose there may be one kind of example, that the company hereby appoints Mr. ABC Sharma as CEO of the company. So what I am doing is, by the agreement or by the contract, I am appointing one particular person as the CEO of the company. Or suppose if I am going to sell 20 liters of oil to B. Okay, so these are the contracts you form. So in such a way, you will first of all you will mention the transaction. Okay. Second is the rights and obligation of the parties. So whenever you mention the transaction, the second thing is rights and obligation of the parties. So rights and obligation will be, parties will also be mentioned, that what will be the rights of the plaintiff, what will be the rights of defendant. So mean not the plaintiff and defendant here, but whoever the party is, seller or buyer, tenant or landlord, or any other kind of contract, then you will mention a certainty, with the certainty that what are the rights and obligation of the parties. नेक्स्ट आता है covenants. So what are the covenants? Covenants are the small portion, small kind of contract or small kind of stipulation in the contract, that what we are going to do. So sometimes you see in the contract that there are some certain kind of directions in the contract. So in that directions you say the other party to pay the taxes, or to pay the insurance policy, or to keep the company in good standing. So there must be some kind of small directions to the other party, or the other party can provide the small directions to the first party. So in such a way, you can mention the small covenants in the contract. Okay. Next come to the conditions precedents. Now the question arises, what is the condition precedent? So conditions precedents are those conditions which are required to be performed before performing the contract. If those conditions are not being performed, then ultimately a contract is not going to be performed. So conditions precedent are very important. So first of all, the conditions must be perform, then your contract shall be come in force. So these are the condition precedents. Next you come to the closing derivables. Now what is the closing derivables? So closing derivables comes when at the time of closing the contract, whenever you complete your transaction, you mention the rights and obligations of the parties in the contract, you mention the small covenants in the contract, you mention the conditions precedent, that before completing the contract, what are the conditions precedent which you will perform. Now we come to the closing deliverables. Suppose after completing the contract, we put the date. Have you observed that whenever we complete the contract, you put the date, you put the place, okay? Date and place are there, and the sign are done. So documents are whatever the documents are submitting, what are the copies are being submitted to the parties, payments, if there is any payment, then what are the payments are being done, okay, revocation of any record to be updated. So whatever the things at the time of closing of the contract, whatever the things are done, or whatever the things are to be done, okay, at the time of closing, whatever the things are done or whatever the things are to be done shall be mentioned in the contract. Okay, so these are the closing deliverables. So you can students, you can just write down these things. These are the operative clauses. So you just mention, you just write down these operative clauses, and whatever I am telling you, you can write down in the small points. Okay, next we come to the post closing formalities. Now after closing derivative means all the formalities which must have been completed at the time of closing of contract. And what are the post closing formalities? So there are some formalities which we need to mention after post closing. Suppose we have prepared the contract, we have written the rights and liabilities, covenants, condition precedent, closing derivatives. Now after closing deliverables, what you will do is we will mention the post closing formalities. Suppose there is a issue of payment, any kind of payment, then in what mode the payment shall be done, or if any kind of delivery, then how the delivery shall be done, or any other formalities after post closing formalities, then it shall also be mentioned in the contract. This is shares, like shares are allotted, so how the shares shall be allotted to the parties, or any kind of entries in the statutory record are to be done after closing that, okay, or any kind of intimations to be done, any kind of banker, insurer, or any party to the contract, then these are the post closing formalities. I know it might be little bit of technical or difficult for you, but slowly if you understand all these things, it will be very easy. So first of all, if I repeat the things, then first is do not forget to mention the transaction. So whatever the transaction I am going to do, you have to mention that transaction, whether it is a buy or sale, whether it is a tenant or landlord, whether it is any kind of other transaction. Next is rights and obligation of the party. After that, covenants are the small directions in the contract. Then the condition precedent means those conditions which we need to perform before completing that contract. If condition precedent is successful, then the contract will move forward. Then closing deliverables as we have discussed, the closing formalities, and after that the post closing formalities. So after closing the contract, how you will execute the contract. So there might be some instructions that how you will do the post closing formalities. Okay, next we come to the payment under agreement. So if there is any kind of payment under the agreement, then in that agreement you have to mention the payments. Okay, suppose there is a contract between tenant and landlord, then you will mention that on every seventh date or every 15th date of the month, the rent shall be paid to the landlord. So such kind of date or such kind of stipulation to the payment shall be done in the agreement. Okay, next we move to the lock-in. Now, what is the lock-in period? Lock-in, as by the word you can understand that it is locking in some thing. So, what is being locked here is time. Okay. So, stipulated the time shall be stipulated that what shall be the time? What shall be the time of agreement, or what shall be the period of agreement? So, it will be a lock-in period. Suppose if I made a contract of between the tenant and landlord, and it is for the 11th month. Suppose there is a contract of 11 months. So what the 11th month is? 11th month is the lock-in period. Okay. So you have to certainly mention that what is the lock-in period here. Now next comes to the remedial actions if permitted. So in case if you are doubting that there might be some kind of damage, then some remedial, what will be the remedial actions? If there are some kind of mishappenings or any kind of losses, then what may be the remedial? Remedy means you have to compensate, you have to give the alternative, you have to give the other possible measures by which you can complete the contract. So these are the remedial actions if permitted. So whatever the permitted remedial actions shall also be mentioned in the operative clauses. अब स्टूडेंट देखो बच्चे ध्यान से देख लेना ऑपरेटिव क्लॉजेज व्हाट आर द देखो whenever you make the contract, in the contract start from the proposal, then promise, okay, consideration, agreement. Agreement enforceable by law is a contract. Okay, in that contract, that how the process shall be followed, what are the clauses you will mention, because without the clauses there your contract will be of no use. So there must be operative clauses in that. Okay, so we move next. So next is the confidentiality. अब confidentiality, what is the confidentiality? Suppose I am an employee in your company and there is a contract of employer and employee relationship, and if I perform any kind of duty in your company, so there are some documents or there are some secrets by which I will come to the exposure of that secrets. So it is my responsibility that I will not disclose that confidential knowledge to the other companies, because it might be very harmful to the other companies. So in such a situation, you have to mention a confidentiality clause. So in every employer-employee contract or any kind of other contract or any kind of trade secret contract, then we have to mention that suppose if you are working in our company or in our institution, then there are some confidentiality clauses, and according to those confidentiality clauses, you will not disclose that information to the other company or to the competitors. Okay, so this confidentiality clause is very important nowadays. Now the exclusivity and restrictions. So next clause is exclusivity and restrictions. So there are some restrictions and exclusivity are imposed on the parties. Suppose if I read one of the example before you, suppose that in exchange for good and valuable data generated at its cost as a result of this agreement, during the term of this agreement, the developer requests and the company hereby agrees not to engage in business discussion with other parties interested in the technology in India. Suppose I am a part of the discussion in my company, okay, and I know the secrets or loopholes or discussion of the company. So what are the restrictions imposed on me as that I will not discuss the same kind of clauses, same kind of business discussion to the other competitor or other business holders. So these are the restrictions imposed on me. Okay, so there must be some kind of restriction and exclusivity clauses also. Next are the non-compete clause. Non-compete clause means suppose if I am in a joint venture means suppose आप और मैं मिलके एक बिजनेस चला रहे हैं, so is a this is a joint venture. और जॉइंट वेंचर में क्या है that you and me will work together, that you and me will not compete with each other. Okay, so there is a non compete clause are added that in that contract we will do only work together, not will compete with each other. Okay, or we will not do any kind of any other business in which there is a competition with me. Okay, so I'll do the business with my partner together. ठीक है, together in consonance, not in competence. ठीक है, so I will not do any kind of competition with my partner. So this is a non compete clause. Next we come to the non solicitation. Non solicitation clause means that suppose you and me are doing business, so we will not allure, we will not solicit the other consumer to my company. Okay, suppose lawyers are prohibited from solicitation. So lawyers cannot say that I am a very good lawyer, I will deal with your case very efficiently and like that, so I cannot allure our clients. If the client is coming to me voluntarily, then it is okay, but I am not permissible. There is no permission granted to me that I will, what I will do, I will not solicit any kind of client. So this is also non solicitation clause is added. Okay, suppose if I read one of the example. So during the term of this agreement and for a period of 6 months after the expiry of the termination of this agreement for any reason, the employee agree not to directly or indirectly, what not directly induce any customer of the company to bring their business to the employee or his new employer or any competitor of the company. Suppose क्या होता है, if I am working in a company and I left the company, so what the non-solicitation clause says that for the 6 months after that, for the 6 month, I will not allure, I will not solicit any kind of client or consumer to that company who I have joined after that. So non-compete clause and non-solicitation clause are those clauses which are put in the employer-employee relationship to prevent the employee or to prevent the employee to do any kind of activity which is harmful to the business of employer. Okay, damages. देखो, suppose you are making the contract, so there is always a possibility of damages. So in case of damages, how the damages shall be paid? ठीक है, damages means compensation. Damage is not damages, this is not a kind of injury wala damages. Damage is injury, damages is compensation. So what kind of compensation you are giving, how the compensation shall be paid, how the compensation shall be stipulated. So these are the damages. Liquidated damages are the stipulated damages. Suppose we are saying that if this happens, if this happens, then I will pay you liquidated damages of 10,000 rupees. So 10,000 rupees is a certain amount. Okay, so 10,000 rupees is a certain amount, that's why we are saying it is a liquidated damages. Okay, टू द टेरिटरी. अब देखो टेरिटरी आपने देखा होगा इन सेल्स बिजनेस, सेल्स और मार्केटिंग के बिजनेसेस में क्या होता है कि सपोज आई एम मेकिंग अ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट विद यू एंड आई टोल्ड यू दैट यू विल डू द बिजनेस और यू विल डू द सेल इन दी देहरादून टेरिटरी ओनली और ओनली प्रेमनगर टेरिटरी ओनली. ओके, so such kind of clauses or such kind of terms are territory related terms. Suppose we appoint any kind of franchisee. That franchise is working in a particular area. So that franchise is working in a particular territory. So this is a clause related to territory. Cost and expenses allocation. So whatever the cost and expenses are being allocated, that why we are doing with a contract with you, and on the yearly basis or on the monthly basis we will give such cost and such expenses for the business. Indemnification and exoneration different from guarantee. अब देखो इंडेमनिफिकेशन, इफ यू हैव रेड द कॉन्ट्रैक्ट एक्ट देन यू मस्ट हैव नोन व्हाट इज द इंडेमनिफिकेशन. See what happens in the indemnification. In indemnification, one party is one party pay the losses to the other party. One party promise that in such business or in such agreement, if any kind of loss occurs, then I will pay on your behalf for the losses only. ठीक है. So indemnification is somehow different from the guarantee. Guarantee is a different concept and indemnification is a different concept. Okay. गारंटी में क्या होता है? गारंटी में देयर आर थ्री पार्टीज, वन पार्टी, टू पार्टी एंड थर्ड पार्टी. थर्ड पार्टी इज द गारंटर. So guarantor says if second party is not able to perform the contract of the first party, then I will pay to the first party on the behalf of second party. But in the contract of indemnification, there are only two parties. Suppose you and me, and I promise to you that in your business, if any kind of loss occur, then I will pay. Okay, so this is a indemnification. Okay, so we move next. Next is the representations and warranties. What are the representations and warranties? You will mention in the contract. Warranties होता है, warranties means suppose there are some terms and conditions which are not so important for the contract, but they are important. Without them, though the contract can be managed without the warranties, but warranties are important. So whatever the warranties and representations you want to put in your contract, you will mention specifically. Okay, so this is one of the very critical component, representations and warranties. And while negotiating an agreement, parties make certain submissions and statement to each other as an inducement to enter into agreement. ठीक है. सो आपका रिप्रेजेंटेशन एंड वारंटीज का जो है थोड़ा सा ब्रॉड एरिया है. इसमें रिप्रेजेंटेशन में देखो, रिप्रेजेंटेशन मैट बी एनी काइंड ऑफ रिप्रेजेंटेशन, है ना. एंड वारंटीज में भी देयर माइट बी ए लॉन्ग लिस्ट ऑफ वारंटीज. ओके, सो वारंटीज एंड रिप्रेजेंटेशन को हम बाद में देखेंगे इफ देयर इज एनी डिफिकल्टी देन. बट what I am telling in this topic of operative clauses is that what might be or what may be the clauses. What are the clauses? There must be some clauses in the contract. Only then the contract will be useful. Next is the terms and duration of the agreement. So you have to particularly mention then what is the terms and duration of the agreement. This is agreement for the 1 year or 2 year or 6 months. Okay. Renewal and extension of the agreement. Suppose there are two examples. If I say that if there is no renewal clause, in the contract, then that contract shall be for the unlimited period of time until and unless it has been expressly terminated by the party. Okay. Be aware of the automatic renewal clause. Now what happens in the be aware of the automatic renewal of the clauses? Then suppose if I mention a clause or term that after 1 year of time, what will happen? The same agreement shall be extended to the another 1 year until and unless it has been terminated by the any of the party. Okay. So अब देखो सेकंड, थर्ड एंड फोर्थ टर्म एंड ड्यूरेशन ऑफ द एग्रीमेंट, रिन्यूअल ऑफ द एक्सटेंशन ऑफ द एग्रीमेंट एंड बी अवेयर ऑफ द ऑटोमेटिक रिन्यूअल ऑफ द क्लॉजेस. Okay, so first there will be term. If there is no term, then it will be for the unlimited period of time. If you want any kind of renewal, if you want to put the terms and condition of the renewal, or if you say that after paying some specific fee you can renew that contract, then you have to mention that in the contract. And the second and the last thing is be aware of the automatic renewal of the clauses. So suppose you want to put any kind of automatic renewal clause, then you have to put it specifically. Termination of the agreement, and then how the contract shall be terminated. So you have to mention that how the contract shall be terminated. Contract shall be may be terminated by the death of the party, by the insolvency of the party. Insolvency समझते हो ना कि I am not able to pay the debt to you. Okay, so if I got insolvent, if death of the party occurred, okay, if any kind of condition occurred which are mentioned in the contract, then the termination of the agreement shall be done. If change in control, if subject matter is lost, or any kind of dispute or dissolution of the party, happening of a specific event, happening of the force majeure, any kind of deadlock happens, then in such a situation, the termination of the agreement shall be डन. अब देखो बहुत सारे टेक्निकल टर्म्स आ रहे होंगे, मुझे पता है यू आर द स्टूडेंट्स ऑफ सेकेंड ईयर आई थिंक. सो अगर in such a case if you are not able to understand, then we will have a question answer session, okay, at the last, or you can put your questions in the chat box also. Next, effect or expiry or termination. देखो once a termination of the agreement happens, then what is the effect of that termination of the agreement? What shall be the rights and liabilities of the parties after that termination? Okay, so if the termination is happening, there must be some kind of consequences also. So what will be the effect of termination? Okay, so you have to mention that what shall be the liability of both the parties after termination, how the assets shall be distributed, how the liabilities shall be distributed. Okay. Now we come to the survival of certain clauses. Okay. So after this termination and after the effect of termination, there are some clauses, there are some things which you need to settle it out there. Then you have to put some survival or certain clauses are there. Okay. So in survival of certain clauses, there may be any kind of clause. It may be related to the termination, it may be related to the effect, it may be related to the goodwill, it may be related to the any other kind of non-compete clause or non-solicit clause. Okay, so it is a kind of remaining clauses, remainder clauses. Fine. So underlying relationship of the parties. अब देखो मेन थिंग क्या होता है, वेन एवर वी स्टार्ट अ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट, in the first point, you remember in the first point we mentioned that there must be transaction. You have to mention the transaction of the agreement. So in that transaction, whatever the relationships are created between the parties, okay, so whether it is a joint venture, it is a franchise, it is a license, it is a agency, so there might be different agency and principal relationship, buyer and seller relationship, employer and employee relationship, tenant and landlord relationship. So what are the relationship between the parties? So you have to mention that is also. Force majeure. So what is force majeure? Force majeure is any kind of event which is only in the hands of God. Suppose heavy rainfall or any kind of earthquake or tsunami. So these are the events which are force majeure. So it is the act of God. It is taken as an act of God. So you have to mention particularly that if that there is an act of God, then in such a case what will be the liabilities of the parties. Suppose if I say that if your factory or if your house fall due to the act of God or force majeure, then I will not be liable for the loss. So such kind of clauses must be there in the contract. The last is limitation of the liabilities. I will also mention that in any kind of losses, in any kind of damages or harm, that I will not be liable more than 10,000 rupees. So I will particularly mention that if अगर कोई भी harm होता है, कोई भी चीज़ होती है, then I can pay only up to 10,000 rupees. More than 10,000 rupees, I shall not be liable. So if you want to put such kind of clauses in the contract, then you can put. So it is called a limitation of liability. Done. So these are the clauses of operative clause. Okay. So these are the clauses, operative clauses I have mentioned. Fine. So I'm just turning on the mic of yours. Hello. So I have turned on your mics. So now you can ask me. I am just putting the slides, and you can ask me the questions. So these are the operative clause. Do
Excuse me,
not
sir.
mention. हाँ जी बच्चा.
Sir, what's the difference between lock-in period and term and duration of agreement? Because both would contain the same things, I guess.
बेटा देखो टर्म एंड ड्यूरेशन आर generally what happens whenever we make a contract, what happens in this case, we make a some kind of period that it will be the tenure of 1 year or 2 year. Lock-in period is a kind of period in which you are saying that it will be the contract up to only 1 year. After that 1 year, it shall be terminated automatically. ठीक है.
Okay, sir.
So लॉक इन पीरियड में क्या है, लॉक इन पीरियड में देयर इज नो स्कोप. ओके, ठीक है. लॉक इन पीरियड में से क्या होता है, लॉक इन पीरियड मीन्स टू अनेबल द चेंज. ठीक है, यू आर नॉट एबल टू चेंज एनी काइंड ऑफ पीरियड, यू जस्ट लॉक्ड इन द पीरियड. Suppose this is a contract of 3 year, then it is a contract of 3 year only. You are not able to extend it, you are not able to reduce it, or you are not able to terminate it. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Any other
Uh,
question?
so, so please explain warranties once again.
देखो वारंटीज आपने, हैव यू स्टडीड द सेल्स ऑफ गुड्स एक्ट?
Yes, sir.
So in the sales of goods act, what happens? Warranties. Where's warranties? Warranties, representation of warranties. Okay. So warranties, what happens? Suppose there are some clauses in the contract which are not so important in the contract, but they are necessary. Okay. So such kind of terms and conditions which can be done at a later stage of the contract. Okay. Suppose for example, if you say to me that you want a mustard oil, 20-liter mustard oil. Okay, and I am saying that I am delivering you a 20-liter of almond oil. Okay, so this is not the warranty, this is a condition. So in sales of goods act, there are two concepts, conditions and warranties. So in condition, the violation of the conditions are making the contract as void. Okay. But the warranties, if you are violation of the warranty, then it is not necessary that it will be a void contract. Okay. एक तरीके से you can say that it is a collateral conditions. Warranties are the collateral conditions. Though these are not the main conditions, but these are the important conditions related to the main clauses, main conditions. आया कुछ clear हुआ है नहीं?
Sir, like I am ordering a T-shirt and I will expect that the quality of that like cloth will be good. So like that.
हाँ हाँ, suppose you are ordering a t-shirt and you are expecting that the quality of the clothes must be good, but suppose there is a chances of little bit of lower quality, but you are okay with that. The quality is little bit lower, but you are okay with that quality, then in that case also this is the warranty.
Okay,
Suppose you
sir.
want, suppose you are saying that I need a t-shirt of some specific cotton. Okay, but you are delivered a cotton which are not that specific but are nearby or the same type of cotton, then it is a kind of warranty. But suppose if you need a particular kind of instrument in any kind of medical surgery, and for that medical surgery you need the same kind of document, sorry, instrument, in that case you cannot compromise na, you cannot compromise with the medicines or instruments. So these are the conditions, not warranty. So conditions are most important and warranties are less important in the contract. Any other question? एनी अदर क्वेश्चन बच्चा? नमन अपना माइक ऑफ करो बेटा, अगर इफ यू आर नॉट एनी अदर क्वेश्चन बच्चों? So
No, sir.
these are the operative clauses. Suppose you are making a contract. Suppose you and me are the parties to the contract. We are making a particular contract. So section 2 of the contract is the basic backbone of the contract. But now we come to the operative clauses, that what we will do in the contract. What are the necessary requirements? Non-compete clause, confidentiality clause, non-solicitation clause, warranties, tenure, lock-in. So these are the concepts. So fine. So should I stop here?
Thank you, sir.
Any other question? Is there any question बच्चों? ये समझ में तो आया ना आपको?
Yes, sir.
क्योंकि देखो, अगर किसी को समझ में, एक्चुअली देखो मैंने काफ़ी फास्ट पढ़ाया है और माइक मैंने आप लोग के इसीलिए ऑफ कर दिए थे, जैसे कभी कोई बाहर घूम रहा है, कभी ये आवाज़ें आ रही हैं, वो आवाज़ें आ रही हैं, फॉर सो अवॉइडिंग द डिस्टर्बेंसेज, एंड आई जस्ट चेक द मीटिंग चैट बॉक्स ऑल्सो. देयर इज़ नो क्वेश्चन इन द मीटिंग चैट बॉक्स. फाइन. Okay. So is there any kind of issue or any kind of problem? We will discuss in tomorrow's class. We will discuss some kind of draft also. Okay. So by the help of that draft, we will be able to find out how a contract or how the commercial contract are drafted. So we will take 2 or 3 some examples of the drafts. So we will be able to understand that how these the other operative clauses are added. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, fine, बच्चों. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, sir.